Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Venture Science podcast. I am your host, Graydon Orr, and I have the pleasure of sitting with Rick Gruenhagen from Bluumly. Rick, go ahead and tell me a little bit about Bluumly. What is it exactly?
Yeah, Bluumly is an AI-enabled digital marketing platform for small businesses, and we like to call them micro businesses because the people we support generally are sole props up to maybe 5 employees.
Okay.
This is a very underserved part of the market. They tend to use a lot of social media in their promotion and a lot of email in their promotion, but they're using a lot of different tools to do that.
Yeah, it's kind of scattered across the
Yeah.
board, trying
It's
to
very-
achieve one goal.
Right. Very fragmented. Yeah.
Right, and I assume based on that what you do is you streamline that into one process.
We do, yeah. So this all started actually. My wife has a Shopify e-commerce store.
Okay.
It's a wellness business, and she was really struggling with kind of 3 things. One is as a small business owner and actually a startup CEO, we all know this, right? That cash flow is king.
Yep.
That new customer growth is vitally important.
The cost acquisition and the cost of each one too.
Yeah, and it's very, very difficult for small business owners to get noticed and to grow their business.
Right.
And so that's the primary thing I wanted to help her do. I have a background in AI going back to I was in the core search relevance team at Microsoft and their search team.
That goes way back. A lot of people don't realize that AI has been around for 20 plus years.
Before we called it AI, it was called machine learning and big data back then.
Big data.
Yeah. No, but out of that bloomed AI, I guess. And so that's one problem. The other is the other two actually are with. One has to do with just the time savings. She just using my wife as an example, she spent 1 or 2 days a week just on crafting content for social media, doing email newsletters, doing blog posts, that sort of thing. It's just taking a lot of time away from her actually running her business. And then the third one is expertise. Like, she's not a marketer, she doesn't have expertise in marketing, and one of the things that the AI can really help with is learning about her business and then presenting content back in a way that you would expect a professional marketer to do.
Right. So the nice thing is having your wife's company, your wife's business. You almost had a guinea pig that you could really test everything out. I'm assuming. Right?
We did, yeah. In fact, we actually launched our private beta on the 14th of April. She was, of course, the first customer on there, and she's
Congratulations.
And her results have been pretty good so far. She's gone from 100 followers on Facebook to over 1,000 in a couple of weeks. So
That's incredible.
yeah, that's a pretty good result. We've got about 22 other users on there giving us feedback right now, and our plan is to actually roll into a public launch later this month.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to have a conversation with you about that for my wife's business. I think this sounds like we might have something in common, our wives. And then we get roped in on trying to find solutions that for whatever reason is not their area of expertise.
Right.
What do you think's what stage are you at right now with your company, and what does the next phase look like for you?
Yeah, like I said, we're in private beta, so it's invitation only right now, and that's really because we just want to validate the workflow.
Of course. Yeah.
We want to make sure that we've got a good market fit. Later this month we'll be going to a public offering, which will be a paid offering out to people. So that'll validate, the willingness to pay for us. Like I said, we had a wait list. We started working on a wait list in January. We've got about 500 businesses on the wait list now.
Wow, that's impressive already.
Yeah, thank you. And we went out to about 30 of them 2 weeks ago, and 22 of them signed up. So that's pretty good conversion just on the sign-ups. They're all, of course, using it for free. So we'll see what happens when their trials run out. And then we were recently selected as one of 10 startups to participate in MIT's CIO Symposium later this month.
That's going to be something.
Yeah, and so we'll be part of their innovation showcase.
So what's nice is you've created a product whereby you can utilize your own product to build your own company.
And we are, absolutely, yes. We have been using Bluumly to promote Bluumly on all of our social media channels as well. You can find us everywhere on social media. And that's actually working quite well. And I've had some good response today too from the pitch competition.
No, you pitched earlier on today, right?
This morning.
This morning. How did that go?
That went really well. I had, I think now I've lost count. At least a half a dozen of the founders have approached me now asking if they could participate in the private beta. So
of course.
I think that's a good result.
That's a fantastic result. It just validates, you know what you're doing.
There's at least a need in the market for this.
For sure, absolutely. But I think you described it very well, and I think we know this. Everybody listening has gone through this, watching has gone through the same thing. It is very fractured or scattered, or pick your word over there, and it's quite frankly, we're getting to a point where you have to pick. I got to pick 2 or 3 lanes. You can't do all of them, type of thing, and then at the same time we get bombarded by all of those various channels to try and pick me type of thing, and it's overwhelming. In fact, this is exactly why I had to step in. A couple of sort of friends and have asked me for some advice on this type of thing, and I basically described what you've created, but I just didn't have your product to present to them. So from now on, when anybody asks me, what do I do with my own product? Right here, call Rick. Call Rick.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So far, we've done integrations with LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter.
That's fantastic. That was going to be my next question. How many of the channels? But that's basically the big 6.
Those are the big ones. We've got plans to do some of the others coming up soon here. Before we get to that, I really want to do an integration with, and one of our top priorities is to do an integration with Shopify. Because that's really how we're going to close the loop on, how is this marketing content really doing in terms of conversions and generating new business.
Well, that's fantastic. How would people get hold of you if they wanted to get in touch?
You can contact me at just my first name at Bluumly.com. So it's Rick, R-I-C-K, at Bluumly.com.
And Bluumly is spelled?
B-L-U-U-M-Y.
There you go. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us for another Venture Science podcast with me, your host, Graydon Orr, at UCI Beal Center. Please like and subscribe so we can continue bringing stars like Rick that can change your world. Thank you.